The Organization Administrator Best Practices webinar will cover how to best manage your organization to prepare for a real-world incident. So these are some highlights of the organization admin role. It can manage all aspects of the organization. With this role, they are responsible for delegating other roles to personnel that are in their organization. You must always have at least one person in your organization with the administrator role. And we do recommend that either the one or the few people in your organization that have been most familiar with CBRNResponder should be the ones to have this role. And if you are looking to become a RadResponder ready organization, you must identify 2 organization admins. Just some highlights here. They can manage the organization details, assessment policies, account and sponsorship requests, personnel roles, standing teams, partnerships, equipment, facilities, data feeds, and event creation and management. The organization admin role and the planner role are pretty similar in their abilities of what they can do for the organization, but there are some differences. So the organization admin can manage all aspects of the organization, but the planner, however, can only manage most aspects. So the organization administrator has the ability to approve sponsorship and account requests and can also invite new users to their organization. The planner can approve account requests and invite new users, but the sponsorship request must be approved by the org admin. The administrator role can only be revoked or assigned by other administrators. The planner role, however, can be revoked or assigned by the administrator or by the personnel manager. And the main difference of managing the organization would be that the administrator can edit the organization details. So those include name, date, things like that. So some best practices of the organization administrator. So again, only those who should be changing organization information should have this role. It's not necessary to have more than probably 3 or 4 people in your organization with this role. It could get a little hectic about who is responsible for doing what, so it's best to keep the number of organization admins low. They should also delegate tasks of the organization to personnel in their organization. So assign someone the personnel manager if their responsibility is adjudicating accounts, and for the user who is responsible for equipment inventory tracking, they should have the equipment manager role. It is also a best practice to keep up with organization maintenance. So if someone leaves your organization, you should remove them from the personnel list. And vice versa, if someone new joins your organization, make sure they have the correct roles and have their account set up. If your organization administrator does leave the organization, you will need to find a replacement for them in the organization. And then we also recommend utilizing the invitation feature. This is an easy way to add new people to your organization. It sends them a direct invitation to create the account. Now I will go over the organization dashboard and all the tasks you can do from there and what it will show you as the organization administrator. So the organization space can be accessed by clicking the organization name that you will see on the top header ribbon. So in this case, it's CB Tech. If you do belong to multiple organizations, you can click that little drop down and select the organization you would like to view. On the left-hand side, you will see a navigation menu, and this will take you to pages that are specific to the organization you are viewing. So for example, if you open up the facilities tab from the menu, you will see facilities for your organization. The tiles that are on the dashboard will display significant information regarding your organization. So here you can see we have a pending request tile, an equipment tile, and 2 tiles pertaining to data. So the data tiles, these are the data collection for all events that your organization sponsors. So any events that you have created with your organization as a sponsor, these data points are from those events. So on the left, you will see a data for a certain amount of time tile. You can click that drop down to change the time. And on the right, that shows the total data breakdown for, that does not have a time limit, it's just for the entirety of the event. So here is a quick run through of how you can utilize those tiles. So if I want to see only data that was created today, I can change that. I can also look for the last 30 days. If you hover over, you will see the exact number as well as what data type. You can also click on specific data types if you do not want to see how many of a certain data type was collected. And if you click Show List, you will see the data for the last 30 days and a table format for each data type. The total breakdown tile, if you hover over kind of the pie chart there, it will tell you how many data points there are for that data type. And again, you can choose to not display certain data types. And then you can click the Show as List to see the total data breakdown in numbers. If you use the Reset Layout button, the tiles will default back to their initial state. The pending request tile contains requests for partnerships, accounts, sponsorship, or membership accounts. So this is a good feature. You can approve, reject, or view these requests straight from the dashboard. So in the top screenshot there, you can see it was a partnership request, and I can just click approve or reject right from the dashboard tile. Or if I would like to view a little more information on the request, I can click that magnifying glass icon, and it will direct me to the partnership request, and I can see further information about that request and then approve or reject it from there. In the bottom image there, that is an account request. So I can click review or the magnifying glass icon, and I will be taken to the review account request page where I can then approve or reject. The fourth tile on the dashboard displays equipment that has maintenance coming due. And this will include all items that have upcoming maintenance due dates or overdue maintenance dates. So here you can see that the equipment items on the tile all have overdue maintenance. So I can click directly into one of these equipment items, and I can check out the details of the equipment. And let's say I needed to upload some maintenance, I can go click add and fill out the maintenance accordingly. Another feature on the dashboard is the 3 buttons at the top. The events button will direct you to a list of events that your organization sponsors. The document library will direct you to your organization's document library. And the invitations button will direct you to the invitations page, and there you will see a list of invitations that you have sent out to users. So the organization details that I touched on, that the organization admin is the only role that has the ability to edit these. So again, this would be, you would go to the details page from the left-hand side menu, And on the organization details page, you will see the edit button, and you can edit these fields accordingly. So only the organization administrator role will see that edit button. All other users can navigate to that page, but they will not have the capability to edit any data. The next best practice for an organization admin would be to maintain their personnel list. So you want to determine who should have specific roles in your organization, and again, who should be responsible for managing specific tasks. So some specific points to think about: who should review pending account requests? They should have the personnel manager role. Who should create an event in the case of a real-world incident? They should have the event creator role. And then who should be responsible for receiving the weekly equipment maintenance report? They should have the equipment manager role. So it's important to delegate these tasks out. That way, let's say your organization does need to create an event in a real-world incident, you know exactly who should be creating it and not have multiple people either creating events or have, on the other hand, no one create the event. So it's good to delegate these tasks out. So the organization administrator, planner, and the personnel manager, they all have the permission to review pending account requests. So the organization administrator and planner, they will be responsible for other tasks. So if you give the role of the personnel manager to a specific user, this will be their responsibility. The event creator, along with the organization admin and planner, they have the responsibility to create and manage events. Also, as the event creator, they can manage all aspects of that event, so the responders, partners, and teams in the event. The equipment manager has the permission to create, manage, and import equipment items, maintenance schedules, and maintenance records. So having someone responsible for specifically managing your equipment, especially if you do have a lot of equipment items, this would be a good role to delegate out. The equipment manager role will also receive, they can pick email, text, push notification, or all three. They can choose to receive the weekly equipment maintenance report that will contain all of the upcoming maintenance that is needed for their equipment. So as the organization administrator, if you would like to delegate these roles, you will click the Personnel tab on the left-hand side navigation menu, and you will see all existing personnel that belong to your organization. And you will also see their current organization roles, their default event roles, and their contact information. So to manage the existing roles, you will click the Manage button and adjust these roles accordingly. So once you do have a user assigned the personnel manager role, they will also have the ability to do this. Here you can select the organization roles or default event roles that you would like to either add or remove from a specific user. You can also remove a specific user entirely. So if someone does leave your organization, you no longer want them to be part of your RespondR organization, you will click the Remove button and then Save. So to view and manage account membership and sponsorship requests, on the personnel page, there will be a View Requests drop-down menu. So if you click the membership request page, there you will see all the membership requests for existing users that would like to become a member of your organization. So a case for this would be a user already belongs to another organization, but they want to be a part of yours as well, or you would like to add them. They can submit a request to join your organization, and you can approve or reject it. The account request page will show all pending account requests for new users that have requested to join your organization. So they are currently not a user in RabResponder, but they would like to be, and they would like to be a part of your organization. The sponsorship request page will show all sponsorship requests that personnel have requested your organization to sponsor. To utilize the invitation feature, this would be a really good feature if perhaps you have a lot of personnel in your organization that are new to the RabResponder, CBRNResponder, so you can send them an invitation to join. And you can do this by clicking the Invite New Users button on the Personnel page, or if you navigate to the Invitations page, you will also see the button there. So to generate an invitation, you will click the Invite New Users button, and the only field you need to fill out, which it is already pre-filled, is the expiration date. And by default, it does show the expiration date 1 year from the day you are creating it. And then all you have to do is click Create Invitation, and your invitation was successfully created. So here you can do one of two things. You can copy the invitation email and send it out to your users that you would like to invite, or it will now be listed in the invitation table, so you can click the magnifying glass to view the details of that. And you can also click that little email icon that I have circled in red, and this will open directly whatever email provider you use, and it will contain the invitation, and all you have to do is add the recipients. So if people do create an account through your invitation, you will see that in the invitation details. So you can see the pending request from that invitation and keep track of who has completed their invitation. So now I'm going to talk about some best practices for some of the other organization features that you may want to delegate out and can be very beneficial to prepare for any real-world incident that occurs. So some best practices for partnerships. I know we had a question about this in the chat. It looks like Christine answered. So we do recommend to set up standing partnerships with any surrounding local organizations, state organizations, fire departments, police departments, your RAP team, etc. So any organizations or agencies that you typically do work with when you're to have a real world event, you may want to add those as standing partnerships at the organization level, and this will save you the time of adding each partner individually to your event. Again, in a real world emergency, you don't want to be worried about making sure all your partners have access to your event, so adding them as standing partners to your organization will be a big time saver there. The partnerships can be customizable, so you can decide what data types you will share with your partner and what data types you want them to share with you. So for example, if you want to share your facilities with a specific organization, but you may not want them to see specific event types that you create, you can set that up. So some best practices for managing equipment. As I mentioned previously, we do recommend as the organization administrator that you assign an equipment manager, and they will be responsible for managing all the equipment and maintenance of the equipment on your organization. As the equipment manager, they can utilize our bulk import feature to quickly upload multiple equipment items. They can add equipment items ad hoc, so individually, but if you're uploading multiple pieces of equipment, it is best to use the bulk import feature. They will also be responsible for the maintenance schedules and maintenance record, which again, those can be all imported in bulk again, big time saver instead of having to go in and enter maintenance for each individual item. And as the equipment manager, you will receive the weekly equipment maintenance report. Setting up standing teams to best coordinate your operations allows you to assign personnel and equipment very quickly to your events. You can assign someone the default event role of the team manager. So anytime an event is created, they will have the ability to create teams on that event, manage the team, such as the personnel and equipment items. You can choose to add your standing teams by default to events along with the personnel and equipment to again save some time. That way you're not creating a ton of teams on an event in an emergency situation. And this will also allow team members to quickly select equipment item that has been assigned to them via the mobile app. So if they are collecting surveys from Team Alpha, for example, if they select a meter, it will automatically filter to show the equipment items that have been assigned to Team Alpha. So it creates much quicker data collection in the field as well. Facilities can be added as multiple types, so chemical storage, community reception centers, nuclear power plants, and any other critical infrastructure that is in your region to be able to leverage during your response. So we do recommend you have facilities set up at the organization level. That way, again, they can be added to your events by default, or you can copy them over at any later point. You can add sampling locations as well as floor plans to your facilities. And we do suggest that you add a generic facility such as your organization's name. So I would name it CB Tech facility. And that just ensures that if there is a response that you need to quickly upload a floor plan to, you have a facility to upload it to on the fly. We do allow floor plan uploads from the mobile app now. So let's say you're in the field, you need to quickly take an image of the floor plan. You can then upload it from the app to that facility. So these are some additional features that we recommend using to best manage your organization. If your responders or teams, if you would like them to collect a group of data at the same location, you can utilize the data collection set templates feature. So this allows you to set up a template with specific data types you would like them to collect. These will then be transferred to your events, and your data collectors can use these templates to quickly upload data points. To alert yourself or other members of the organization when surveys reach a certain threshold, or if a specific isotope or chemical is identified, you can set up alert definitions. Setting these up at the organization level, you can pick to add them to certain event types, and then specific personnel that you establish will receive alerts based on when certain situations occur there. You can also create custom assessment policies, and this helps standardize your assessment procedures across events. That way you don't have a different assessment process at each individual event. This just creates a uniform assessment policy. And we do have a organization document library for all responders in your organization. So if you have specific documentation or resources you want people of your organization to view, you can add the files to the document library, and all responders will have view-only access to view these documents. So that wraps up some best practices for the organization admin and how they can most effectively manage their organization to prepare for a real-world incident.